Hey, what's going on? This is Dr. Dan Close for Car, showing all of you guys how to get the yes with less stress. Hope you're all having a fantastic Tuesday here. I just want to do a couple of checks. If you guys are in the room with me this early, let me know who you are, where you're calling in from. Let me know that you can hear me and see me. That'd be great. Because we got to talk about something today that's really important, and that is what's called upfront objections. Now, these are objections that people give like right off the bat, not at the end after you've presented them your recommendations, the finances, etc. These are people who come in and well-meaning folks, guys. Okay, that's number one. Is just the prejudice on people who have upfront objections. It's just unacceptable. So we're going to be discussing that today. So if you guys are in the room, just let me know that you guys can hear me and see me. Just put like, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can see you. I would really appreciate it because I got to figure. I got to make sure that I am broadcasting because the system has been a little bit sketchy these days. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I will not waste your time today because stuff today is going to be very, very important. It looks like I am, and I'm good to go. Okay. So upfront objections. Let me give you the scenario. That way y'all can kind of wrap your head around this. New patient call. Hello, Julie. Nice to see you. New patient calls. New patient shows. Before they say anything, or very soon after they get the forms or they're filling out, whatever your initial protocol is for accepting new patients into your office, they say to your staff, usually the front desk, they're going to say something along the lines of, I'm only going to do or pay whatever insurance covers. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only going to do what insurance covers. I don't want to do anything past what insurance covers. I'm not going to pay anything out of pocket. I'm not going to come more than 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to get cracked. I'm not going to do that machine. I'm not going to get a massage. I'm not going to whatever. These are all what are called upfront objections, and we have to know how to handle them, okay? So that's what we're going to cover today. Once again, thanks for joining me. I know that you could be doing a million other things, but right now you guys are here with me, so I totally appreciate that. If you guys are in the room, just drop a comment, be like, what's up, how you doing? A lot of people in the room so far, and let's get going. So okay, so before I get into the how to handle the upfront objections, as you probably already know in our world, there are some preliminaries that we have to handle. Now, some of you turn off at this point because all you want is the answer. Now, you're going to get the answer, but sometimes the answer is not exactly what you wanted to hear because I'll tell you something from my own personal experience. When I'm posed with a problem, and in this case is what to do with upfront objections, when you're posed with a problem, and depending on how desperate you are for the answer, what you want is an easy, quick answer. And I got to tell you, if you're thinking that way, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong. It is our human nature to want a quick and easy answer, especially if we are on the end of the spectrum in terms of desperation for an answer. Now, if you're less desperate for an answer, see, you have a little bit more patience, so you can actually handle the preliminaries or not getting to the point so quickly. So depending on where you are in the spectrum of desperation, some of you are getting a lot of upfront objections, and you just want, give me the answer. Well, I can't give it to you right now on what to say. What I can do is pose it and give you some preliminaries to help you understand why you feel the way you feel when you get upfront objections. And I got to tell you something. What you feel right off the bat when you get an upfront objection. So let's just use a scenario. I just posted this in the Closers Club if you're watching it here. And I got the typical responses that I usually expect from people who are not trained. And how do I know this? Because I know who's commenting. I know the docs who have been through masterclass and the docs have not, or forget masterclass, people who have been trained in business and sales and those who are not. So people who are untrained, and listen, I don't sugarcoat things. So if this hits you the wrong way or you've commented this way and I'm calling you out, I'm not using your name and you get a little offended, well, come on, docs, let's just grow up a little bit. We're here to learn something, so I just got to do what I got to do. So the initial knee-jerk reflex for a person who is untrained on a upfront objection, like I just want to use what insurance covers or what have you, is, watch this, the knee-jerk reflex is, what do you think it is? Oh, next. Don't want to deal. They don't value what I have, what I do, how I do things. They're not a qualified client or a patient. This is not the right place for them. Bye. That is a knee-jerk reflex. Now, that is a product, and I'm just going to put this out there. That is a product of all the bullshit self-help shit that is inundating our social media channels right now, and it's being taken out of context. What do I mean? You see all this shit out there saying, stand your ground, be strong, be the lion, not the gazelle, all these things. And so you listen to that stuff, right? And you go, yeah, I got to be strong, to stand for what's right. And these are all legitimate epitaphs or legitimate, adages that we should all live by, right? So when a patient comes in and challenges that, and you think it's testing your strength, and to exercise your strength, you're going to say to that unqualified, upfront objecting patient, bye, or say something like, well, do you want to get better or not? Or saying things like, do you really want your insurance company to dictate your health? Like, these are all examples, okay, of essentially alienating that upfront objecting patient right off the bat. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong how we handle that. I can give you a million examples, but I'm just going to keep it right here and right now. Upfront objecting patient, when they come in and say, I don't want to pay, I don't want to come, whatever they're objecting about, okay? We have to understand that perspective. And what's that perspective? Okay? And the thing is, we all do the same thing. Okay? Let's say I've never bought a vehicle before, ever. Let's say this whole idea of cars is very foreign to me. Okay, let's just make it a little bit more relatable because everyone's bought cars. Let's say you want to buy an airplane. You've never bought an airplane, let's say. Assume you haven't. If in case you have, just sit out on this one. Let's say you've never bought an airplane before, but you're in the market for one because it solves a problem, okay? Whatever. Let's just use our imagination here. So you show up to the airplane dealership, okay? You know nothing about it. All you know is that you think you need an airplane. So you go to the salesperson. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? You're thinking, I don't want to spend more than I have to. I don't need all the bells and whistles. I'm only going to do this, if that. I'm not going to go crazy. Okay. I don't want to get since I don't know the airplane industry, I don't want to get taken for a ride. You got a lot of objections, don't you? Think about the last time that you entered a buying scenario where you are very unfamiliar with the product and service that you are being presented with. Just recently, we hired a party planner for something. In the beginning, we were like, what? I don't know. How does this work? How much you want? It was all these questions. We may or may not have verbalized it, but we were certainly feeling it. Now, why is that so different from your patients coming in? They're thinking, I think I need a chiropractor. My friends tell me I need to see a chiropractor. My friends say I can't go down the road of drugs and surgery. They don't want that. This could be a solution to my problem, but they're so unfamiliar with the industry, number one, and even more so, they are unfamiliar with you, and they come in with upfront objections. Why is that so hard for us to kind of wrap our head around? Why do we jump on them and say things like next or not qualified? Why do we do that? We're never giving them a chance. If you happen to be watching this as a member of the general public, you know what? I apologize on behalf of my colleagues for being so prejudiced. It's not your fault, and this is me talking to the general public right now, docs. It's not your fault that you don't understand or know what chiropractic is or is not, or it's not your fault that you don't understand or know the practitioner well enough. It's just a fact that if you're entering into a new thing, it's going to be foreign to you. And then to be prejudged like that because you are saying that you don't want to do too much because you're unfamiliar, and then for that reason, they show you the door, that is wrong, Mr. or Mr. Patient. Because I know from my perspective, if I'm a buyer or a client or someone a consumer, and I go into a new industry and some brand new face that I don't necessarily know I trust yet, and I start asking questions, or I'm mandating that I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, and they automatically give me the boot, never giving me a chance to assimilate into this new product or service and being kicked out the door, that would make me feel pretty shitty. I don't know about you, but it would. Sean Rundle in the house, what's up? He says, we can teach you how to handle objections to the close. These are bar tricks. Yeah, man. We're going to get into the bar tricks later, but when we talk about objections, like this is where it all starts, is the perspective of your prospects. Like there's so many sales gurus out there that are teaching you how to handle objections. This is what you say. It's like, give me a break. Like they never ever talk about why people have objections, and I'm just giving it to you on a silver platter. People have objections, especially upfront objections, because they are not familiar. They have not built enough trust in you or the industry or the product or service yet, right? And they need to feel safe. That's the last element. Your patients, you need to feel safe. If I'm selling software and my client says, listen, I don't want to spend more than $20,000 and I don't want to have to do daily updates every day. And let's say I'm a software company that sells a product for $50,000 and there's software updates happening every hour. Am I really going to tell this particular customer, this potential customer, next? Or obviously, Mr. Software Buyer, you're not sophisticated enough to understand how software works these days because you're a boomer. Like, am I going to say that? You could, and those are the salespeople in that industry that are still living in their parents' basement. Listen, docs, like I'm trying to draw an analogy here. Is there any surprise why a lot of our talented practitioners are still proverbially living in their parents' basement? Because we don't understand perspective. That is the fundamental constant driver that helps us do what we do for you, is that we need to give you their perspective, not yours, theirs. We say it so much, it's so cliche. Their perspective. They're scared. Let me just break it down for you. They're scared. They're unfamiliar. They feel unsafe. So to satisfy those feelings of angst, it's not good feelings. They need to offset that with, you know what, doc? You know what, Kelly, front desk? I'm only going to do what insurance covers because I don't want to be taken for a ride. This is self-talk. I don't want to get ripped off by something I don't understand. So I'm going to invest as little as possible. And for me to actually do that and feel safe, I'm going to make sure that I do not invest anything more than X. I'm only going to come twice because I have no idea what this is going to take, how long, how often, but I can deal with 2 because I'm so unfamiliar. And to make me feel safe, I'm going to tell you up front that I'm only going to come twice. This is what people do. Now, the problem I have with this is that there's so many other consultants out there who are teaching you that once they do that, kick them to the door. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, especially in an industry, in a profession where we are literally trained from the womb to the tomb in terms of the profession to give, love, and serve, to make sure that we make this accessible for as many people as possible, right? And we say that and then we do that. It just makes no sense. Here's the way that we deal with it. Okay, so now is now that we've got the preliminaries done, let's get to the real crux of it. So first of all, Danny Foss, what's up? How you doing? Sean Rundle in the house, what's up? Let me see what I like this one. The reason why docs want to hear and learn on how we handle objections is because they get more objections than closes, and that's not good. How about we show you how not to get objections and how to close? That's exactly what we do. And the way that we avoid objections is that, watch this, docs, is that we preemptively handle objections before they become objections. How do we preemptively handle objections? Or do we predict the future? Do they write them on a little piece of paper and slide it to us under the door so we know what to do? No. We handle and preemptively predict objections because they all have the same objections. What is that? I don't want to invest any time, energy, and money on something I don't understand. And until I do, I'm not going to do it. That's the objection. So how do we preemptively handle that? Well, that is a little bit more of a complicated answer, because there has to be a system that we follow, that we check all the boxes. So over the course of time, your patients start to, number one, get familiarized with this industry or this profession or this service called chiropractic. Just like if I was going to buy something unfamiliar, let's say an airplane, I'm going to over time become more familiar with that particular industry, the bells and whistles, the pros and cons of particular models, the solutions that this particular tool can buy me. It takes time for us to understand that particular the benefits and the features of that thing, right? And the more that your patients understand how this thing of what you offer fits into their lives, the less and less and less objections that they have. This is common math. And I need you all that are listening to right now to really understand this. Because this is fundamental thing that our profession struggles with every single day. And check this out, docs. This requires training. This requires so much training because it's so opposite of how we think. Again, if you're getting upfront objections, like I only want to do insurance covers, or I only want to come 3 times my whole life, whatever, and you are dismissing them and you're discounting them, that is a clear sign of untrained. It is a clear sign of how naive and unsophisticated you may be in the art, science, and philosophy of not only business and sales, but just psychology and relationship building. Because here's another example. It's another example. If you have kids, don't they just say the darndest things? Don't they believe things that are not true, that are completely outside of your reality? And let's say you want them to clean their particular dish after they eat, right? And they've never done it before. And you tell them, hey, listen, I want you to do the dishes. They're going to be like, number one, why? Number two, well, if I do the dishes, I only want to do like 2 dishes. They're going to be filled with objections. Why? Unfamiliar. And so with our kids, do we just say, oh, F you, get out, next? What do you do? Oh, you realize, okay, they're not ready yet. I'm going to have to, over time, expose them to this art, science, and philosophy of managing yourself, art, science, philosophy of hygiene, art, science, and philosophy of cleaning your fucking room, art, science, and philosophy. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, we do that in other situations and it makes sense to us. But when it comes to our business where it matters a lot, we do that. We just don't do that to our patients. Someone comes in. I love this one. Patient comes in. Watch this. The first thing they say, and it's happened to me many times in my own practice, in my career, my 20-year career, and it's probably happened to you. First thing they say is, I don't believe in chiropractic. You guys get that? Well, listen to your inner core right now. Don't you just want to say, go fuck yourself? Like, I get it. I totally get it. But not only do you say that to yourself, you actually tell them that. Or maybe not those words, but you just say, there's the door. You don't believe in chiropractic? Get the hell out of here. Why? Why wouldn't they say that is my question. Why wouldn't they say, I don't believe? What did you do to help them believe? Okay, are we on the same wavelength here? Do you guys get what I'm saying? So if your patients have upfront objections, what we tell our docs and the way we've trained over 2,000 chiropractors, maybe even more, I lost count, chiropractors over the course of the last 10 years is do what you do. Just do what you do. And what you do is what we train them on. Because if you follow a particular set of steps in terms of what the questions you ask them and what to do, what they reply, over time, slow process, and a day 1, day 2, we'll call it slow. In the initial onboarding of your new patients, they start to build trust, you start to build rapport, and more importantly, they start to see how what you do fits into this thing called their life. The understanding goes up. Their certainty about you being a solution goes up, and objections go down. So it's this inverse relationship, okay? Objections don't just sit there. You just got to assume, like, the whole term of like guilty until proven innocent. Okay, you're guilty of being untrusted right now by default. You just have to accept that. So you're guilty, okay? And the only way that you become innocent is to raise the value for what you do, build trust and rapport, and the higher that goes, the lower this goes. It's just how it works. What is it that you have to do? Well, I don't have the time to go over all of it right now, but this is what we do. And if you're watching this to this particular point, it's a sign. It's a sign that if you haven't trained with us already, I think it's about time you do. Because if your knee-jerk reflex of everyone who comes in is kick them out, you're not going to have a business. It's just that simple. Your job is to close for chiropractic because that's what you signed up for. Your job is to get people under care because you have the tools to be a solution to their deepest want, need, and desire. That is what you signed up for. Yet, we'll go against that premise as soon as anyone gives us any bit of objection because it hurts your feelings. It's not professionalism. And it's very sophomoric. And it's naive. And this is what's wrong with our industry right now. That's where we are. And that's okay because that's why we're here. So if you're watching this till this particular point, you haven't trained with us yet, like, again, this is a huge sign, aside from a lightning bolt hitting you 6 feet away, telling you, you know what? I think I'm going to have to figure out this thing called business and sales as it pertains to how our patients get started, because that's where many of you are missing the mark. Some of you are getting plenty of new patients per month, but only less than 40% of them are saying yes to your best recommendations. Like, that's a problem. Or if you've been in practice for 20 years and you've plateaued for the past 7, or you're looking to expand and get more freedom out of your life, but never have enough volume here to support an extra set of hands and another salary. Like, these are all problems, right? I got you. Some of you who have never met us before, you probably look at us and be like, oh, they're full of shit. Why wouldn't you say that? That's why all the hate mail we get and all the bad comments, they're coming from ignorant, uninformed, and just they don't understand it. That's why I have no problem with them. You know how many of you have sat in our seats over the years that at one point talked shit? Do you know that? And why did that happen? Because as soon as someone talks shit, that tells us they just don't understand. We haven't built enough rapport. We haven't built enough trust. We have not positioned what we do as a solution for their selfish lives and their selfish businesses. So until we do, those are just things that should happen. Those are just things that we understand, that we get. And then a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, that same doc, because we have proof. We keep folders on these things to just make it real for us. That one day you said shit and one day you just paid us so much money to help you take the next level or save your practice or whatever. And they're sitting right there, stage right, taking notes. These are also your patients. Oh, so Sean says, Dan, you know what? You're preaching to so many docs that will watch this and agree with you, but will never take action, and why their business will never. You're right. It's really sad. Invest in your business or be okay with where you are. Sean said it the best. It's about time that you take action. So you might have thought that this particular broadcast was really about how to handle something, and I hope I helped you with that. But let me tell you really what the motivation here was, is that I need all of my colleagues that are watching this right now to take action, to do something. So many of you are just waiting and waiting, looking for that perfect time. Have you figured it out already? There's never a perfect time. Okay? And if you're younger and you think there's going to be a perfect time, let me just tell you, docs, like there's never a perfect time. You got to create the time to make those things happen. This is how it goes. Yeah, and it's sacrificial. Some things are going to have to give, and it's not going to be pleasant, and it's not going to be easy. But that's the game. It's not supposed to be easy. If it were, everyone would have what they want. But that's just not how it works. The one thing I truly respect about our masterclass docs is that they are such hard workers. We have a new class that just started yesterday, online, and we track who's logging in, who's investing the time, who's submitting homework, who's taking the quizzes, how well they're grading, how they're scoring, if they're showing up to their calls. We track all those things. And I got to tell you, across the board, the docs who are absolutely crushing it. When I say crushing it, I'm talking from the depths of despair to ultimate prosperity within a very short amount of time. Just to let you know, that's what I mean by that. They are doing the work, they are putting in the time. They are taking this thing called success in business seriously because they know that so many other things revolve around that. And they do the work and they crush it and they do great. And I'm so proud of them. For the docs that are in the course right now, if you're watching this, very proud of you. I know it wasn't an easy decision because you had to create that action step to make it the perfect time to do this. For those of you who are still on the fence, I'm talking to you as well. There will never be a perfect time. You will never have enough money to afford it. All the docs that we have taken care of over the years found a way to get it together, the finances, the resources, the time, whatever, to get it done, right? Isn't this exactly what you want your patients to do? Take action, sacrifice things, their time, their finances, in order for them to get under care so that you can change their lives. So that's exactly how we feel about your practices, about your business, about this industry, about this profession. So that's all I got. So if you guys are done listening to me rant, she wasn't so much of a rant, it was okay. I'm going to let you guys go right now, but I'll leave you with this. Nothing happens by yourself. If you're watching this and you're telling yourself, I can figure it out on my own. I've always been a lone wolf. I've always did really good with that. I'm just going to keep going with this. Got to let you know from a past lone wolf, you're looking at one. Nobody does this by themselves. Nobody. I don't care how good you are. Nobody. So you need people. We'd like to be one of those people. That's all. That is my ask. All right. If you guys enjoyed this, that means I enjoyed this a lot. So until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Dan, signing out.